So, Happy Gilmore 2 is a continued story of Happy Gilmore, a character cooked up by Adam Sandler in the 90s during his successful comedy run coming off of Saturday Night Live. You're going to think films like The Waterboy or Billy Madison or The Wedding Singer, even Mr. Deeds, wherein Happy is an overly aggressive, failed hockey player turned golfing pro due to this outlandish golf swing that can drive the ball like 400 yards with ease, can hit from the tee all the way to the green, goes further than every other golfer. Well, in the first film, Happy takes the golf world by storm by competing and winning in this tournament and defeating the expected winner, Shooter McGavin, who's played by Christopher McDonald, in a spectacular, goofy, and unruly fashion. He drinks beer on the course. He takes this corporate Subway sponsorship. He gets in a fist fight with charity tournament partner and Price is Right host Bob Barker, and he ends up winning the tournament, and he gets the girl and saves the family homestead. Well, now it's been 30 years, and we're on Netflix, and in this Netflix revisit of the older Happy Gilmore film, Happy Gilmore is now a fat alcoholic. He's a total washed-up slob. He fell out of golfing due to his outlandish temper after winning a few championships, and now he's got 5 children, who are mostly teenagers, four messy boys and 1 girl, and his wife, played by Julie Bowen, is out of the picture. He accidentally killed her with a T-drive, gone haywire. And Happy's daughter, his only daughter, next to his 4 messy boys, wants to go to ballet school, right, and become a ballerina to the tune of $75,000 a year in tuition. So Happy, who's eager to turn things around and get out of this dead-end grocery store job where he's very obviously drinking during work hours, thanks to this little gag where he's got a bunch of booze stashed in flask-like containers around the store, he has to pick up his clubs once again and find his happy place and jump back into the sport with both feet. It's an honest return to the form for the character, and I'll talk a little bit more about the writing and where it came from, but I do think it's got problems in the back half. It's a solid first hour for a 2-hour joint, but ultimately Happy Gilmore 2 might be less than the sum of its parts, but it's not bad if you like that original one like I did, so I'm looking forward to talking about it. Andy, what did you think of Happy Gilmore 2?
So this really didn't work for me. I'm sorry to say, because I am a fan of the original, and I was a fan of those Sandler comedies in the 90s. I definitely grew up with those. And they were so funny at the time because he had this ridiculous character that he would get into, just some absurdist comedy, just kind of over-the-top acting from people like Ben Stiller and Christopher McDonald as the great Shooter McGavin. And this just feels like a lot of Netflix slop. Like the story and plot just kind of don't make a lot of sense. They kill off Julie Bowen's character, Virginia Vedette, right away, which I think is like, it's like, well, there's only room for 1 star, and that's Adam Sandler. So let's give it, because Julie Bowen's like a star in her own right, and I kind of thought it's a bit of like, well, we can't have 2 stars at the top here. I just thought it was painfully unfunny, and I don't know who this is for, because it feels like it's for older generations, like people in their 40s and 50s, because it's got all these references to the 90s and 90s people that were in the original. But then there's also all these cameos from like young and up-and-coming people like SNL people. They make references to popular podcasts. And it was just like, who is this for? Like the audience is so disjunct. And it was just kind of the thing where every 10 minutes there's a new celebrity cameo, and it was so key jangling to me. And it was like, oh, here's a famous person. Here's a famous person. Here's like Travis Kelce is in here as a waiter, and it's fine. But it's like, oh, why is he in here? So older dudes can say, hey, look, that's Travis Kelce, and that happens like every 10 minutes. And I struggled. It took me like 4 hours to watch this because I just could not pay attention. Like I paused it like an hour and went and got lunch and came back. And when I was, I was painfully unfunny to me, and I think there is potential for this, but it was just like, it was such a second screen movie to me.
Yeah. So a lot of that I think is accurate for what it's worth. I liked a lot of the first bit of it for sure. I actually came out the opposite way. I think it works pretty good. Let's talk a little bit more about the plot. I think it's like, first off, where it comes from. It's written by Adam Sandler and his co-writer Tim Herlihy, who wrote like almost all of those old Sandler classics in the 90s with him. He co-wrote Billy Madison. He co-wrote The Waterboy. So this movie's got to serve a couple of masters. Number one, it's got to be good for those of you who liked Sandler's old 90s comedies. And for what it's worth, I think a lot of that's here. There's a lot of really fun stuff in the comedy, especially in the first half. There's a lot of good sight gags. These 4 like unruly children that he's got, these 4 boys, are all like working out all the time, and they're like, I'm hungry all the time, and like eating food and like mooning each other and shit, which is really funny. And he's like, stop it, quit it, God damn. And he's got this one daughter who's kind of a reflection of her mom, who like. There's another really funny gag where like early in the movie his daughter's like, Dad, you were an answer on Jeopardy today, come check it out. And like the people on Jeopardy can't guess his name. They're like, who was this famous golfer in the 90s? They're like, Happy Goldbaum, Happy Guildenstern, and they're all like Jewish names, like, and that feels like something right out of like 90s Sandler comedies. Like that feels great. They even recycle a Waterboy gag later in the movie. And you get a lot of fun cameos from those old movies as well. Ben Stiller is back doing like a wacky 90s Ben Stiller character. It's not very good, a little stiff, but he's older, dog. It's like watching Jim Carrey trot out an old 90s character, They've got Kevin Nealon shows up in this thing. John Lovitz is in here for a minute. You're right. It's like a mile a minute. And those are just the old cameos. You got plenty new ones. Eric Andre shows up in this. Poor Margaret Qualley is in this. And I was like, oh God, Margaret, what are you doing? Get out of there. Like, you're nominated for an Oscar, for God's sake. What are you doing in Happy Gilmore 2? But everybody seems to be having a pretty fun time and understands that the stakes are pretty low. That is all. Well, hold on. That's one master this is serving. The other is golf fans. There's a lot of golf pros in this, and golf stars, and golf courses they go to, and golf professionals and announcers. And a lot of that was in the original, and I never really got all that stuff. But it's even more so here. They have a dinner scene with a bunch of like tournament pros and all these gold jackets. There's all these old dudes in there. Like, I think they're all big pro golfers. There's a bunch of young guys that are pro golfers. And I think that stuff's probably really great if you're a golf fan, but I'm totally insulated from it. I don't get that stuff at all. The mistake I think this movie makes is trying to hit one more angle on top of these. You got your old 90s Sandler heads. You got your golf heads. This weird future of the sport AI thing they do with this villain character in this movie that's like propped up on the back end is clunky and bad and doesn't work. The villain in this movie is played by Bennie Safdie, who's an indie director. He directed Uncut Gems, actually, with Adam Sandler, right? His last big drama role. He plays Frank Manatee, who is this like goofy, wearing his hair up in a bun, just came off the island CEO of this company called Maxi, which is a giant golf competitor. Maybe kind of think something like Top Golf, but their whole angle is they want to redefine the sport of golf. They're not going to do 18 holes. They're going to do 7. And they're not going to be rolling greens and forests. They're going to be like goofy lightning lanes. And one's going to have snow on the course. And one's going to have a giant windmill. Like all these goofy like mini putt kind of things. And it kind of bastardizes what the sport is to a point where when Happy and his like crew of like 4 other professionals are trying to compete with his crew of 4 other professionals, they're not really playing golf anymore. And they're kind of just playing goofy, like hit the ball through the obstacle course games. And it's weird because the first movie does such a good job of skewering the sport of golf against this like image of an unruly masculine man who like drinks beer and takes his shirt off, right? Like against the backdrop of like the most professional sport in the world. This movie like goes one step too far by trying to do this funny villain thing, and it does not work in the back half of the movie. First half feels like a fun send up to the sport of golf in the first movie. Second half, clunky, boring. You're going to get your phone out.
Yeah, it's really disjunct in the plot because you have like, Happy Gilmore is down and out. He's got to stage a comeback. And yeah, all the like golf head stuff doesn't show up till late in the second half. And yeah, you have professional golfers like Scotty Scheffler and a bunch of others that I don't know who are doing a fair amount of acting and are in the movie a lot. It's just, it's like 2 or 3 subplots later. I did think that Bennie Safdie was really funny. He was the funniest part of the movie to me.
Really? Total opposite.
Because he plays it so straight.
Yeah, I thought he was totally I thought distractingly miscast. And then but like it's a good Sandler bit that he like slowly becomes more disfigured over the course of the movie. Like that feels like something out of a 90s like goofy stoner comedy, and like that hit exactly the way I remember these old things. This new golf company, Maxi, instead of having golf carts, they have like these 4Runner dune buggy things. They're like ripping ass down the course and like blowing out teeth. Like that stuff's all funny. Like that hits in the way I remember. But I also think I don't know. It's like 2 hours. And it's like, this should have been 90 minutes, dog. You cut a half hour out of this easy. Lose some of those celebrity cameos. There's way too many of them.
So you were talking about references to the first film. This is one thing that really bothered me is, the original Happy Gilmore is almost 30 years old. A lot of people who probably haven't seen it. And there's a lot of references to that first movie. And a lot of them are pretty obscure. And if you haven't seen it, don't worry. They'll show you the clip in the movie. This happens 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Like there's some weird guy that the camera focuses in on, and you're like, who is this? And then it flashes back to the original movie, and it's like, oh, that's someone that Happy choked out one time 30 years ago, and now it's that same guy 30 years later, and now let's make a joke about it. It does this like 4 or 5 times, and I was like, you cannot just keep cutting back to that original film, like, because people have not seen it, and even if you have, maybe it's been a really long time. That like really bothered me because I was just like, oh, what are we doing here? Like the reference, the reference is so obscure, you have to reference it in the sequel.
Yeah, having to cut back to footage. Like they do this with his original caddy in the original movie. He was just this like blonde-haired punk kid. There wasn't a lot to him, right? He had like platinum blonde hair. Well, he shows up again in this. A lot of those old characters show up again in this. I was surprised the like IRS auditor from the first movie shows up and they play a clip of him.
Oh my God.
When he gets like thrown out a door, I'm like, I have seen that first movie a dozen times. That guy's nobody. The amount of work they must have gone through just to get these people back, like these people who are effectively nobodies to be in this movie, is bananas. And it really is like a cast a minute. You never know who you're going to see in the next scene. There's actually a really funny scene when Happy's like driving through his like standard Adam Sandler, I'm a working class man neighborhood in his like crappy car that he seems to be living in every one of his movies. And he's like passes Steve Buscemi, who's like in public, just like pissing in a mailbox. Like Steve Buscemi is in this movie. It's the first time you see him, right? Jon Daly is in this movie as this like funny neighbor uncle character who's like drinking hand sanitizer throughout the course of the movie, which is really funny. Like, I like the subtleties of these characters. All of this, of course, is pales in comparison to Christopher McDonald, who returns as Shooter McGavin, who is solid and needs more work. I thought he was like, dude, I thought he had a stroke or something. Like, I thought he couldn't act. I figured he was just like busy. He's fine in this movie. He's actually might be kind of good in this movie as like disgraced Shooter McGavin, who we like find in an insane asylum, who's like, I'm good. I'm normal. I would not beat the hell out of Happy Gilmore the second I saw him in public. And then sure enough, he ends up running into Happy and they have this whole exchange and he gets this moment where he kind of comes back and does the Shooter McGavin thing. Like, it feels like a really good send-up to those old 90s films, to Sandler's early work. It's like, it feels almost like a classic Happy Madison production, but it's squeezed into the shape and the mold of a modern Netflix film when you got to have technology and you got to have a bunch of references to modern stuff, and there's got to be 3 Love Island jokes, and that stuff feels forced in a way that I think hurts it. Like, I don't... And cutting back to clips, the old one, like, really just makes me want to go watch the old one again, which is also available on Netflix, of course. As soon as you finish this, it rolls right into Happy Gilmore 1. So that's good.
Yeah, I thought Christopher McDonald as Shooter McGavin has a really big part in this, bigger than I thought, is when him and Sandler eventually team up. It's an enemies to friends kind of storyline. Again, this is where Julie Bowen should have really been back in this movie. But he's really impressive. Christopher McDonald, as he kind of has to hype up Happy Gilmore and help him stage his comeback. We have so many cameos. I'm just gonna name a few. Like we said, Ben Stiller, Bennie Safdie, Bad Bunny, Jon Daly, the golfer, Haley Joel Osment. Sandler's kids and wife are also cast in this film. Steve Buscemi, Eminem, Guy Fieri, Travis Kelce, and the list just kind of goes on and on. And again, you're throwing a new celebrity every like 7 minutes to make sure you're paying attention.
I did get a laugh out of Eminem showing up ass out the first time you see him. It's really funny. Like, he's just mooning Happy Gilmore. People mooning each other. We need to bring that back, obviously. Like, that's a big hit in Happy Gilmore, too. Yeah, ultimately, like, I think this movie will be good for you if you like the original, like in those old Sandler movies. I think you'll enjoy at least parts of this. I hear if you're a golf fan, you're really going to like it. But I think both of those audiences, no matter what, will end up bored by the end of this picture. You're going to get your phone out. You're going to get up and do laundry. You're going to go to lunch. Like, even I had trouble getting all the way through it just because it's like, it's too full. It's too stuffed. Y'all should have hit this with some scissors and cut it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Clean up the runtime. Otherwise...
I almost...
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I almost felt like maybe this would have made a better like short series, limited series, like do a 4-episode Happy Gilmore series. Or
Probably would have been
6
great.
episodes, like,
Yeah.
I think that would have been more palatable.
Yeah, trickle those out over a few weeks, let people post memes. Like, yeah, that probably would have been a lot of fun. Like, it's I don't know. It's a good return. It's just a little clunky in the back half, and I think that's okay. Andy, would you recommend Happy Gilmore 2?
I would say a hard pass for this unless you're a big fan of Sandler and Happy Gilmore and you really want to see what this is about. Give it a watch, check it out. Other than that, I would say probably pass. It is, to me, it was painfully unfunny. It's way too long at nearly 2 hours. It references the first film by literally having to cut to it. There's several celebrity cameos every 7 minutes to keep you interested because the story and plot just kind of goes nowhere. Weirdly makes alcoholism a joke or a running gag, which I was kind of not comfortable with. So I would say if you're a super fan, watch it. Otherwise, soft pass.
Yeah, I like Happy Gilmore 1 a lot. And I think if you like it a lot like I do, this one's worth taking a pass on for sure. Or taking a pass at for sure. It's funny, at least to me. There were bits that I was getting laughs at, like that I think are underrated and simple. I think it's probably doesn't need to be looked at with as complicated a lens as we're checking it out with. But, we do our due diligence here on Off Script Film Review. That's what we do. So, yeah, Happy Gilmore 2. Solid. I'd recommend to fans. Again, I hear if you're a golf fan, it's real good. I don't know a lot of golfers, but from the scuttlebutt on the internet, that's what I heard. So if you're a golf fan and you like Happy Gilmore 2, hit the comments. Let us know. Write into the show. Mail at offscriptfilmreview.com. Send us a comment. Anything. Engagement. Please. Like, subscribe, whatever you can do. And come back here for more from Off Script Film Review.